All right, so I'm using Bahoang 100% cotton cold pressed paper block. This is a 9 by 12 block. I love this paper. This is a professional series. I make a student series. The student is just as good as a professional, actually, if you ask me. That's a green cover. This one will have a picture of a watercolor artist on top. And it has a really great tooth, but it really soaks in that watercolor, so you can use a lot of watercolor for this. I have the reference photo here for everybody, but I, of course, added my own little twist on here, adding some more tomatoes inside on the front and on the back. And if you're a Patreon member, you get the line art here. We're going to be playing with flat wash brush, and I really want you to encourage you to paint quickly when I'm doing something like this. I'm using a 3/4 inch from Princeton. This is the Velvet Touch series. You can grab whatever flat wash brush you have. And we'll start by painting the tomatoes. I'm going to grab some cadmium yellow deep, cadmium red light. Looks like an orangey kind of color. And then for the reddish tomato, there's a color called, I use holbein watercolor, by the way, pyrorubin. It's a really great color red. It's kind of the best red I've found that I like. I know everyone has their preference. And this is just a really kind of fun watercolor where you're not doing serious watercolor. It's more expressive kind of look to it. So just taking the flat wash brush and just kind of maneuvering it quickly, going over those tomatoes, you know, it's just going to have a real kind of fun look. There's the red. See how I'm just twisting my brush like so. Leaving a little bit of white here and there. If I want a deeper red, I'll just take some of that red right out of the tube almost while it's wet. And you can take some red and kind of bleed in that color there. Even a little around here, right? Got the tomatoes. They could be colored tomatoes because, hey, there are. I buy purple ones and yellow ones. Look at that. Just fill that section in. Could add a little red to this orange part here. We've got our tomatoes. Look how quick that was, right? Same thing down here in the bottom here. There's the green part I want to kind of keep, so I'm kind of going around that. I might want to leave a little bit more white. I should have left a little white on this side, but that's okay. You can always lift it. I'm just going to leave a little bit here. You see I'm just twisting and putting in that color for my tomato. So it's not perfectly round, it's not perfect. I'll go grab my pyrorubin and my orange color that I made. And I'm putting that in for the tomato. Same thing here. I'll leave a little white right there. Try not to hit my green area. Going like this. Twisting the brush, just using the corners of it. Go back and grab some pyrorubin. Boom. I've got our tomatoes, right? Just going to remove some of this color right now. And I'm going to mix up the green, the deeper green for the tomato. So I'll grab Prussian blue, a little bit of burnt umber, and some cadmium yellow deep. And we'll make that deeper green. You can take some burnt umber and go in here and more Prussian blue. And you get a deeper green. And I'm just going to take the, if you do this now while it's wet, it can kind of make a little bit of a mess, but just kind of taking the brush and tapping it on its side. It's pretty thick, the paint, so it shouldn't move too much. And we're getting those little stems kind of happening here. That one's kind of on the box. This one was supposed to be out in the top, but that's okay. I'll go out here like that, and then this one too. And then these ones, I'm just kind of twisting my brush to fill in those little areas. I can just grab some Prussian blue too, itself. Go right on top of those colors. Look how pretty that looks. It didn't take much time. It's all about twisting that brush. And if you want that wonderful green color that you see when you go to the market, like a farmer's market, to me, that's kind of like a turquoise. And when I think of turquoise, I think of peacock blue from Holbein. I might add a little burnt umber or burnt sienna to that. And it will just dull that down. Grab a little bit more peacock. You get that wonderful turquoisey color. Now, this color on the container is lighter than this. Again, I'm gonna add a little brown just to dull that brightness. I always paint on my paper towel too. That's a little trick to see if it's the color is almost matching. So here I'm just gonna go like this, taking the brush, maneuvering it up and down, sideways, just filling this all in. I love a good flat wash brush. You're gonna have to just twist and turn it, kind of crisscross. Like I said, this paper really soaks it up. Woo! Look at that. You got your container tomatoes. Pretty straightforward. All that good fun. I'm gonna connect that a little bit like that. We'll add some deeper color in there in a bit, but not right now because it will just bleed. That's as simple as you get. I would kind of let this dry before you start to play with shadows and whatnot. So this is a great trick. It's not really a trick. It's part of watercolors. It's part of a technique in watercolor. It's called glazing. So when watercolor is very transparent. As you notice, you put color upon color, even if it's wet, it changes the color, right? If you just let that orange dry and then put the red on top, watered down, it will change the actual tomato again. So here's the same color, right? We just put here. If you just put it under here, it's gonna make that darker. Glazing. Now if I added a different color that was like translucent under there, it would change it completely. That's the term glazing in watercolor. If you're not familiar with it, try and get familiar with it. It's a really great tool when it comes to watercolor because you're building upon building the layers of watercolor. Can add some of this color over here. The same color, by the way, that we just used here. It's not a different value, but it does look like that because you just put a watercolor on top of watercolor. You see, this is a nice pale kind of container, and I might kind of maybe make it a little bit darker here. Twisting my brush, filling this in. And then if you do another one, again, maybe thicker, right? We go back in with the peacock blue, a little bit of burnt umber, less water. Maybe go with the burnt umber again. Touch of yellow because it's starting to look more blue. And that's much deeper again on top of that. Now because it's still damp, that is like bleeding into the color. It's not really glazing unless it's kind of dry, somewhat dry, and you're going over it. Now you're doing wet on wet when you put the color in color that's already damp and wet. You see the difference in the techniques? The same, similar almost, except one's wet, so you're just touching it and it's wet on wet. If it's dry and you put the same color, it's glazing. Voila! I know. Crazy that way, right? But that's it. And I can put in the same color, the darker color here, for little shadows of the tomatoes. The inside of this would be darker. Darker still, so maybe we'd grab some ultramarine blue deep and burnt sienna and make like a deep dark gray tone that goes in here. I don't like black because black is too harsh. Get a nice gray. I'm still using this brush and just kind of holding it on the chisel end and filling this in. You gotta experiment with different brushes too. You're getting a lot of techniques in here. Playing with the flat wash brush, glazing, right? And what? What on what? You see what I mean? This is very damp still. I can kind of tap in some of this color, this gray for the shadow, and definitely here. We left some light spots. We can kind of go in here and put in some gray, especially with the tomato behind and over here. Look how simple that was, right? Again, just kind of hold it on its chisel end, just this end, go across, and you've got this perfect little cute tomato container, right? Really that simple. Can mix all this out of the way here, and maybe add some, if it's on a table or not a table, it could be on a table. It can be completely up to you. So maybe I'll take some burnt sienna, a little bit of ultramarine blue deep. It's kind of floating, so we want it on a table. And just figure maybe the table starts here. Gotta have it go across. And then just kind of figure out how you want this to go. Now, this side, obviously the light is coming from the left, because you see this, it's very light and bright here and darker on the end. So we're gonna have to make that happen with our table. Just lift up some of this color so it's just lighter. And then on the other side, much darker, you see. The same two colors, by the way. Get a little bit darker towards this section, but not right here because the tomato is lighter. Okay, and I can just kind of move out my paint this way, crisscross, and it has a kind of a nice, fun, loose look to it. And then again, grab those two colors, a little bit darker. Now this is very wet still, and then it's getting much darker. Under that tomato, a little bit under that tomato. You see? Maybe a little bit here too. Little drama going out that way. I can kind of blend it by cleaning off my brush and going like that. You can make this a little bit lighter if you want to lift it. Right here. Just moving some of the color. It's a very dramatic look. Now, the background could be any color you want. It could be just gray itself. I can go back and add some wonderful grays, or you can make it colorful. It does not have to be gray and depressing. It can be very bright and fun. Always have fun with your watercolor. Be expressive. And so maybe I grab some yellow and the peacock blue. And you get this bright green happening, right? And then this cobalt turquoise. So we'll play with this a little bit. Start adding some yellow, this limeish green color. I know it's very bright and kind of fun and funky. Add the cobalt turquoise. And get this fun green happening. Get that turquoise with the peacock blue. It makes it fun green color. Or turquoise itself. Have fun with this. See, now I'm putting more of a turquoise color back here. Kind of blend it into this yellowish green. Now really the yellow should have been in front because it's a brighter area here. Gonna go add some more yellow. Look at that bright yellow. Just like play with this. Grab some clean water, kind of move that color outward and around. And of course, get a little lighter on the side here by adding more water. Water will dilute the value of the, dilute the hue so that the value is lighter. Because the hue is yellow, I'm making it lighter. We can start adding some color, making it darker. See, you get that green. And then we can start adding like the peacock and maybe some burnt umber here. And changing this a little bit. Making it a little bit more dramatic. And colorful at the same time, so it's not just boring old background. Gotta have fun with it, right? You can kind of play with adding ultramarine blue deep, which will change the color completely because it's a more duller blue. The chrome in that will change it up a little bit. Fun, interesting, right? We've kind of washed away some of our green, but that's okay. You can always put it back in. Now, if you let this dry and you come back in over it again with the light wash, you will have a glazing method of changing the hue of what we put in here and the value at the same time. Look at that. Very bright and fun. Take the blue burnt sienna, get rid of some of this yellow, They make a great shadow color. It's turning into too much green. So ultramarine blue deep and some burnt sienna, and you get a lovely grayish tone for a nice shadow. You want to put one under your tomatoes going this way. See that? And then kind of go out like that a little bit. Can even have some over here. A light small shadow from the little container. All right, we'll let this dry and we can go back with another glazing and see how cool it looks. So remember the colors we did for this? You can add again another wash of that color. Very light, more water, and that's going to change the tone. You can make a really hard edge to it, a lighter edge. Glazing. I'm going to add a little color here. It's the same color, basically. And I just changed it. Now, this should be dry. If not, should wait till it dries. And now we can add a gray, ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Glaze over that color. That tone of that turquoise will come through a little bit because it's a very translucent glaze. But it will change it and it'll make it darker, the value. Look at that. Now add a little bit more color. Water, just dilute the value here. I'm just going to go in here and add some of that gray tone over those greens and yellows that I put in. And that will change it again. Just going to have fun playing with this. And I love using the flat wash brush. Gets more expressive with the strokes, etc. So I've added that gray over all of this. But now how it's changed, glazing that color on top of that color. And you can do another one. I might go back in and grab some Lunar Black from Daniel Smith and play with just a little bit of this and some ultramarine blue deep, getting it really dark, kind of like right here. Playing with that. Very dramatic now, right? You see how that goes? So it's fun. That's what glazing's all about. You could take those two colors and do a light wash, or even add more burnt sienna so we can change this table. It looks pretty light. Just go another wash over here a little bit. So the table's still kind of light, but not as light as it was because we're doing a glaze. You see? Go over your color once again. If you feel like, oh, it's too light, you always want to start off light though. If you start off too dark, well, you can't go back from that. I painted over some of my areas in my little container, but that's okay. It's a very loose kind of painting. And again, I can start to get a little bit darker with this brown table back here if I want to. More dramatic. And the same thing with the tomato. So pie roll ribbon and change it up a little bit darker. So I hope you learned a little lesson about glazing, having some fun, getting a little dramatic with your just a simple container of tomatoes. You can transform it into something really artistic. It means it's just a simple container, but what you do with it, with the paint and how you express it with your strokes and the colors you use changes the whole thing completely. So that's how you start to have a voice with your art. You can change it, you can add some colors, etc. So I hope that was fun for you. If you want the extended version, join my Patreon. Click the link below to join my Patreon, and you get the extended version of this wonderful, fun tutorial. Thank you so much for stopping by. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.